YouTube. We're just about, sorry, we're just buffering on YouTube, so we'll be live any second. Okay, yeah, we're live on there too. So that's all good. Let's just now share my screen. We'll do that. We'll click to record, to share the screen, and away we go. Okay, great. So you should hopefully be able to all hear me. I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can't, although that's a bit of a weird thing to say because you won't be able to hear me say that. So I'm not quite sure why I did. But hopefully you can see me. So you can definitely let me know if for any reason you can't see me. So, right, okay, so off we go. So welcome everybody, welcome to the results webinar. It's great to have you here, and I'm really looking forward to sharing with you some tried, tested and proven ways in which you can grow your business. That's ultimately what it's all about. If you think about business, what is the purpose of a business? The purpose of a business is to make a profit. How you're going to make more profit is only two things. One, you can reduce costs, and two, you can increase sales. That's the whole thing. And so many businesses that I come across, you know, they'll look at their costs occasionally, and I think that's really important. So action number one, and I hope you've got a pen and a piece of paper here for this webinar because you're going to need it. Action number one is to go and have a look at your costs. Are there things that you could save in your business right now? I know there are, and I know there are in mine. And so we need to go occasionally, maybe once a month, and go and review all our costs and work out what we could do to increase our profit by saving costs. The trouble with that is there's only so much you can save, and therefore only so much more profit you can make. But on the flip side, increasing the business, you can go from wherever you are to wherever you want to be. You know, I remember a company, I used to live in Newbury, and there's a little company there called Raycol Electronics, and they became known eventually as Vodafone. You know, started by two guys in a garage in Newbury, and they got to be as big as that. Now, not suggesting you want to do that. Everybody's got their own objectives, but the fact that you're on here, you're with me today, you're spending time and effort, and you're looking at ways in which you can grow your business. So I'm assuming that's your objective. So thank you, as I said, for being here, and looking forward to the webinar. So let's get cracking, shall we? Let's move things forward. We've got a bit of a techie problem. Ooh, there we go. Okay. Let's see if we can solve that. There we go. Okay. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to talk a little bit about the problems with marketing. And I think one of the big problems that I see, and I've been doing this for 25 years, is that people have a problem with marketing because they do marketing in the wrong way. It's not that they're doing the wrong marketing. People often go, well, I've tried email marketing, I've tried social media, I'm on LinkedIn, but I don't really do very much. Hence the problem. And we got a website, but that doesn't win us any business. And so what happens, in effect, they're doing the right marketing, you know, LinkedIn is the right marketing, it's just not being done either enough or in the right way. I'm also going to be talking to you about the options for the future. There's some really cool stuff just been launched by Google that you may or may not know about. And we're talking about one of them, which is known as geofencing. Now that is, do you know what? It's set to change the way we market our businesses. So, you know, make sure you you stay for that. What you need to do to improve your website's CRO, that's conversion rate optimization. I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, and how basically, you know, a lot of people spend a lot of time, money and effort getting people to visit their website. And it's a website that doesn't convert. The CRO, the conversion rate optimization, is really not working anywhere near to the level it could. So whether you're doing social media, getting people to come to your website or email or paid advertising or SEO or whatever, you're standing up at a networking event and saying, here's my website, go and visit it. We've got to have a website that converts, and we're going to be talking about that. We're talking about really the motivation behind it. You know, what are you doing this for? Why you need to do it? How today will help you, and your investment. Now, I did say right at the beginning, I'm not selling anything, and I'm not going to sell anything today. Right throughout the webinar, this is about helping you. This is about me, from my point of view. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this to demonstrate my expertise, and in the hope that some of you will want to know more, and perhaps you'll book a one-to-one meeting, which I'll show you how to do at the end. You don't have to do it. And in that one-to-one meeting, I want to be really clear about this. I'm not doing a one-to-one meeting so I can do a sales presentation. I'm doing a one-to-one meeting so I can help you further, specifically looking at what you're doing in your marketing and giving you some great tips and ways in which you can improve that. And then at the end, you can say, look, you know, I'd like some more, or thanks, Steve, and you're on your way. But there's no hard sell at all in that. So your investment really is, I mean, you do need to obviously invest in marketing, be that you know, an investment in time, in effort, and money. So, you know, it depends. I can't tell you what your investment should be, but you should definitely be investing in your business. So I mentioned about the two ways of increasing profit. Reducing costs and increasing sales. So, you know, you need to think about that and what you're going to do to achieve those two key areas of your business. If you want to make more profit, remember, income is vanity, profit is sanity. If you want to make more profit in your business, you've got to do those two things. Increasing sales, how are you going to do that? Essentially, again, it's about a couple of things, isn't it? You've got to get more leads, and you've got to convert more of those leads into sales. That's ultimately what you've got to do. And how you're going to get more leads is three things. You know, this is fairly simple stuff, but it's also stuff that people don't really do. You know, it's not, you know, difficult, but it is, you know, not done enough, I think. So the three ways of growing a business, number one is to get more customers. Number two is to increase the average transaction value. And number three is to increase the frequency of repurchase. In other words, to get them to come back more often. So to use a supermarket metaphor, you got to get more people in the door. You've got to get them to, you know, fill their baskets more, or with more expensive products. And you've got to get them to come back and ideally buy only from your supermarket. And so, you know, that's really what you've got to do. Now, if I ask you which is the hardest to do, the answer would be to get more customers. It's much easier to sell to current customers and to get current customers coming back on an ongoing basis than it is to get new customers. Although most marketing these days tends to be all about getting new customers, which maybe is one of the keys to improving. Are you marketing to your current clients? Now, this 5 keys to success thing that I've got on my screen right now, I actually got from a guy called Tony Robbins. Tony's someone I respect hugely. I've learned a phenomenal amount from him over the many, many years that I say known him. I've been to a few of his seminars, but you know, I've bought loads and loads of his programs, his audio programs and video-based training and so on and so forth. And Robbins says that there are 5 keys to success. Number 1 is know what you want, but know specifically what you want, when you want it, how much. Not I want to grow my business. I want to grow my business from, you know, $250,000 to $500,000 in the next 6 months, or whatever it is for you. We then know what we want. We got to do something. We got to take massive action. You know, most people know what they want, but they don't do anything. And so you've got to take massive action. So what action are you going to take? Well, that's partly what we're going to define today, and, you know, you in the future. With then, absolute key, got to measure your results. This is probably the biggest mistake that I see in small businesses. They have no clue of their marketing numbers. So, you know what you want. You want to go from 500,000 to a million or whatever it is. You're going to take action. Is it going to work? How do you know it's going to work? If you don't measure results, you never will know. And you won't be able to do step 4, which is change your approach if it's not working. So once you know what you're doing, if you, for example, decided, right, LinkedIn's going to be a key for that, and you've been doing it now for a month and you've had 0 meetings, 0 sales, 0 anything, then you know what you want. You're taking action, but the action's not working. It's not right. So you've got to change your approach. You don't just give up and go somewhere else. It's like, you know, trying to be a professional footballer and try for a few weeks and give up and go and play tennis. You know, it's never going to work. And so what I need to do, what we need in marketing, I think, is more sticking power, you know, more determination to improve, because all these things work, just not all the time. So change your approach if it's not working. Step 5, Robin says, is to model success. So go and find somebody who's got what you want, do the same things, get the same or similar results. Now, that doesn't mean you got to, you know, copy the text off somebody's website or, you know, nick their stuff in any way. It's modeling, not copying. What do I mean by that? Well, let's give you an example. If you want a really nicely designed website, or, you know, you want to improve your brand, you know, it might be worth going and have a look at some of the really good brands in the world. You know, Apple. Do you think there's anything you could learn from the Apple website that you could adapt for your website? Or if you've got an e-commerce site, you know, do you think those guys over at Amazon could teach you anything? You know, that site looks that way for a reason. And I wonder whether there's anything we can learn from hugely successful businesses, either you know, successfully worldwide, or perhaps in your niche. You know, who's the top company in your niche that you could adapt and model their success in some way. So I hope that was of value to you. So how can your business be more successful? What are you going to do? This is all, you know, this results thing that I created, you know, over 25 years ago, I started creating, and, you know, I've got to a level now, you know, the number one thing that, you know, when people come on my results program, which is a 9-month program, I get 2 groups of people: those who take action and are successful, and those who don't and aren't. They're the 2 groups, you know, and that's it. You know, and if you come on this webinar and you go away and you think, well, that was interesting, guess what? You're going to win no more business. It's what you do after the webinar. What action are you going to take as a result of being here? That's what's going to make a difference in your business. So you need to take more action. You know, I hear people all the time saying, well, on social media, I'm posting once a week. I mean, once a week, give me a break. That ain't gonna get you anywhere. It really isn't. I post 10 to 20 times a day on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and so on and so forth. And I win business. You know, I listen and spend a lot of my time listening to the world's leading marketing experts. And this is what they're saying. People are not doing enough. You know, how much effort do you spend driving traffic to your website? You know, how many networking events do you attend? You need to do more. And I know you probably sat there thinking, well, that's all very well, Steve. I've got a business to run. You know, there's always a way if you're committed. That's another Tony Robbins saying. And you got to find a way. And if you want to talk to me on a one-to-one basis, we can do that sometime soon. So become better at the actions you take. That's another way. You know, you could do more posts on social media, or you could make sure those posts work more effectively. You know, you could send out more emails, or you could improve the words, the quality of those emails. You could do more videos, or you could look at what you're saying on the videos and how you're saying it and how you're coming across in order to try to improve the effectiveness of it. Does that make sense? I really hope it does, because becoming better is often one of the easiest things to do. And one thing I will tell you about marketing is that your current level of knowledge is not good enough to get you where you want to go. You with me? Because wherever it is, it's at the current level. So you need to invest in time, effort, and money in your own marketing knowledge. Jim Rohn said, one of the best investments you can make is to invest in yourself. And yet I see people who say, you know, the other day I was talking up in Birmingham at a big conference. There's 1,000 people there. And I said, right, hands up, who's responsible for sales? And I got 1,000 hands. I said, okay, hands up, who has done any sales training in the last year? And I got about, I don't know, 60, 70 hands. And I said, the rest of you, what are you doing? Yeah, you know, you're responsible for selling and you've done no sales training for over a year. Come on, we've got to get with the action. So, you know, that I think is really important. Next one is you got to get better at understanding the required tech, the technology. You know, you cannot sit there. Well, you can do what you want, but you're going to lose money if you sit there saying things like, well, I don't really know how to use LinkedIn. Search engine optimization, well, I've heard of it, but I don't really understand it. Google pay-per-click, well, that seems really complicated. You know, all these things, all these sentences, these statements that you're making on an ongoing basis are costing you money. Now, not a little bit of money, a lot of money. You know, my workshops, people, I mean, I had one guy come on my LinkedIn workshop. He paid me £129 for the day. 6 months later, he phoned me up and he said, just phoning to let you know, as a direct result of coming on your workshop, did a load of work on LinkedIn, and today we've just made a sale of £42 million. Not a bad return on investment on 129 quid. I don't think I charged him enough, do you? And I'm sure I should have got some commission, but apparently the check's in the post. But it's not arrived yet, and that was a few months ago, so it's clearly got lost. So, you know, you've got to understand the tech, but at the same time, don't neglect the non-tech. You know, the other day, I got a letter, you know, one of those things in an envelope in paper from Google. Now, if one of the world's leading technology companies are sending out letters in the post, then, you know, perhaps we should. I spoke to a client of mine yesterday who said they'd sent out, actually an accountant, said he'd sent out 10 letters last week, only 10, and got 4 meetings as a result. Well, that's not a bad return on investment. No guarantee that you're going to do that. That's phenomenally good. But, you know, don't neglect the tech. Is probably good advice. So what I'm going to go through now is what I think are 10 keys. You know, as I've already said, I've been doing this for 25 years, and in truth, there's probably about 30 or 40 things that people tend to get wrong. And I've not got time to go through all those, but I'm going to go through what I think are, you know, my interpretation of the 10 biggest mistakes that I see in sales and marketing. So here we go. Number 1 is you cannot manage what you do not measure. Now, I've already spoken about this to some extent, but what I want you to do from this day forward is to set up a system so that you start managing your marketing, okay, and your sales, actually. So what sort of numbers are you looking at? Well, you're looking at the big picture numbers in terms of, you know, the number of sales that you make. You know, how many sales did you make this month? And what about this quarter? And what about this year? They're big picture numbers. Behind that, the KPIs, the key performance indicators that support that are things like, how many meetings did you have? What was your conversion rate of meeting to sale? Okay, in order to get those meetings, how many leads did you create? And what was your conversion rate of lead to meeting? And behind that sits things like, right, how many networking events did you go to? And how many people went to your website? And how many contacts have you got on LinkedIn? And how many emails did you send out? And so on and so forth, in order to create those leads. So in other words, where did those leads come from? So these are the real big numbers in your business that are going to affect your future. These are the numbers that if you know what they are, you can then work out, really key this one, you can then work out what you need to change in order to improve the numbers. Okay, what you need to change in order to improve the numbers. So if you know that, last month, I'll use a really simple example. Excuse me, I just need to get a drink. Hang on, just bear with me. Sorry, my throat was feeling really dry. So if you know that last month you went to 6 networking events, and you know that you created 6 leads as a result of it, so an average of 1 per event. The first thing you need to know is, was that profitable? You spent time and maybe a little bit of money going there. So was it profitable? If it was, then you got to ask yourself a question. One, could I do more of this? Could you allocate time to do more of it? Or perhaps you could find somebody to go there on your behalf. So hire a networking type person, somebody that would be good at that, and see what results they get. Or what could you do to improve your networking system? So what are you going to do? What actions are you going to take before the webinar? These are the 5 things that you're going to do at the webinar. So these are the other 6 things. What's your 1 minute, or your, when somebody says, hi, what do you do, Steve? What are you going to say to them? How are you going to look? How are you going to dress? Who are you going to speak to? Which events are you going to attend? And then importantly, afterwards, are you going to follow up? Because, I've been to loads of networking events in 25 years. Have a guess how many times people have followed me up after the event. I could count them on my fingers. I really could. And, that I think is a real issue. So, manage your, you cannot manage what you do not measure. And once you're measuring it, you know your results. Hey presto, all you got to do is work on improving them. So you must, as I said, point number 2 is then raise your bar. Look at spending time looking at each and every element of your marketing and asking yourself a really profound question. And that is, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being awful, 5 being average, and 10 being truly outstanding, how good is each and every element of your marketing? And 5 being average means, do you know what? What sort of results do we get for being average? What do you think? I tell you, they're awful. Yeah, 5 being average, being the same as your competitors, means you're probably just about breaking even. You're going to networking events and not winning business. You're on LinkedIn, but it ain't really working for you. You're putting a bit of effort in, you're doing okay, you're doing, a weekly post. And you've got a few hundred people you're connected to on LinkedIn, but it isn't really working. You're sending out a email newsletter once a quarter. That ain't really going to be enough. You've got to raise your standards. In sport, some of you may know I used to play sport at international level. I was a former international table tennis player. And, when you play any sport at a top level, you become really, really, really anal and obsessed with how can I get more out of that. And I'm actually back playing table tennis now. I've not played for 30 years. And in June, I'm playing in the World Table Tennis Championships. Now, to be honest, right now, my standard's not good enough, I don't think, to win it. I'm in the over 60s, so I'm in the old boys one. But my aim is to work out what I can do to raise the bar to become better in order to have a chance at winning that, which would be absolutely awesome. And that's what I need to do. And that's what you need to do if you're going to grow that business from, if you're going to double the size of your business. I'm not talking, if you're turning over 100 million, you may not turn over 200, but if you're turning over 100,000, I think getting to 2.5 is very easy to do, very reasonable. If you're turning over 1 million, getting to 1.5 or something like that, perhaps 2 is also achievable. So let's be clear. Let's set ourselves a high goal, not like a 5% increase. That ain't going to motivate anybody, I don't think. Set ourselves a big, audacious goal, and then raise our sales and marketing bar in order to achieve that. Next one, follow up till they die or buy. Now, I say that's slightly tongue-in-cheek. That's a remark that a very good friend of mine, a gentleman called Peter Thompson, made once at a seminar, and I've never forgotten it. I thought it was really good. My message here, really seriously, is don't drop the ball. There's an old saying that it takes 8 contacts to make a sale. That's an old marketing myth, I think. I don't know whether it takes 8 or 18 or 6 or whatever. But what I do know is people don't have a robust sales system. What I mean by that is, I'm going to follow up once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 10, 12 times, whatever it takes. Not always on the phone, not always on email, and not always in person or, via text or whatever it is you're going to do. But you're going to have a system in place that's going to work as effectively as it possibly can. So keep following up. Develop a sales system, I think is really, really crucial. What happens here when a lead comes in? You get a lead from somewhere, from your website, social media, whatever it is. What happens then? What do you do? And after that, what happens? And after that, what happens? And after that, what happens? Then when you've got the system in place, the next step is to work out, how do I improve the system? Because if you haven't got a system, how can you improve it? If you just follow up when you've got time, it ain't going to get anywhere. You've got to follow up until they die or buy, but do so by having a system and then work out what you can do to improve that system. Look at it like this. If you get 10 leads, you get 10 leads in an hour, a day, a month, whatever it is. Let's say you get 10 leads today and you turn 4 of those into sales. Right? You got 40% conversion rate from lead to sale. If you manage to improve your sales system and you had a more developed one and you got some sales training, do you think you could increase your conversion rate from 4 out of 10 to perhaps 6 out of 10, which is it's like a 20% improvement, isn't it? 40% to 60% conversion. Now, if you think you could do that, what you've actually done is you've just grown your business by 50%. You got 50% more leads, 50%. Sorry, not 50% more leads. You got 50% more sales by increasing from 4 out of 10 to 6 out of 10. Does that make sense? That's exciting, I think. You might not need to get a load more leads. You just got to be better at converting them. And that's assuming you know your numbers, you know how many leads you're getting. Right, okay. So next one is to become outstanding at one thing. So a thing being one aspect of your marketing. You're probably, if you like, 99% of businesses, you're doing several things. And even if you're, saying, well, we don't really do any marketing, Steve, we just rely on referral, you're still doing one thing, you're relying on referral. The fact is you're losing out on all the other business that you could be generating by sticking to just one thing. I'm not saying just do one thing, I'm saying become outstanding at one thing. So let's say you've got a marketing mix, you've got several things you're doing. For example, you've got a website, you're doing something on Facebook, perhaps LinkedIn, maybe Twitter, you're doing email marketing, you go into networking events, you occasionally do the odd exhibition, and you've got a blog perhaps, or you do video marketing, whatever it is, whatever that mix is. So my question for you, or my recommendation for you is you need to think about one of those, and you need to become outstandingly good at it. Right? Just one of them. You can't be brilliant at everything. I don't think anybody can. So what's the one thing in your marketing that you're going to become really good at? Is it going to be your website? Is it going to be networking? Is it going to be referral, getting business from referral? By the way, what's your referral marketing system? Because if you're like a lot of businesses, they tell me, well, we get most of our business from referral. When I say, all right, that's fantastic. What's your system? They go, well, we don't really have one. We just sit back and hope that people will recommend us. Well, hope is hopeless, I think. You know, we need to be more proactive than that. We need to develop 3 or 4 specific ways of winning business by referral. And if you don't, then again, you're losing out. You're not anywhere near maximizing the potential business that you could get from referral. So become outstanding at one thing. I can't tell you what that is. It depends. We can have a conversation when we meet up about what you're doing. You could take your best thing, the thing that's working best for you right now in terms of your marketing, and say, right, let's take this to another level. You could go the other way and go, right, well, this is the worst thing that we do. You know, I'm rubbish at networking. I really don't like doing it. And you know, we might either get rid of that, or, you know, say, right, let's really focus on it and get good if we are going to do it. And you know, it's all a matter of again, looking at the numbers and then improving what you're doing, your system for it, whatever it may be. You know, your LinkedIn, if you look at your LinkedIn marketing system right now, and that system involves, you know, posting once a week on LinkedIn and occasionally accepting new contacts, and you've got a few hundred contacts, and you know, you're not really doing anything else, then, you know, it's not LinkedIn's fault that you're not winning any business. It's your fault for having a rubbish system. You got to improve it. And once you've got a better system, you've got to implement. You don't want to FDI, fail to implement. You know, that's the real key. So become outstandingly good at one thing. Commit time and money. You know, how much time and money are you spending on your marketing right now? Because do you know what? It's probably not enough. You know, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be really cool if you knew that for every £1 you spend on marketing, you're getting 10 back? Wouldn't that be great? Now, if you don't know your numbers, you'll never know. But if you did something like, I don't know, Facebook pay-per-click advertising, let's say, and you put £100 into that, and let's say the clicks cost you £1 each, just for easy reckoning. So, you know, you've had 100 people go to your website from your advertising campaign, and you've got things on your website that enable you to convert them. So you might have like a video, you might have a sign up form, you might have a free download, something like that. And you're going to get a reasonable conversion from that. So let's say out of 100, that gives you 5 people, you know, give you their contact details. So they sign up for something, to watch something, read something, free report, or just to make an inquiry. 5 out of the 100. So we know now that 5 leads has cost £100. Okay, so without being an accountant, that's £20 each. So £20 each. So got 5 leads. Let's say you follow those up with your new sales system, and you manage to turn those into 4 meetings. So again, you can look at that and say, well, how much has that cost me for a meeting? Well, it's cost you 25 quid. Let's say then that you convert half of your meetings, 50% into sales. So you got 2 new sales. Well, you know, again, that sale has cost you £50. Yeah, I know these are simply sums here for me to work out, but can you see and understand how knowing the numbers is incredibly relevant? So you've got 2 sales for 100 quid. Now, dependent on what you're selling, you know, if you're selling something for 50 quid, that's not a very good idea. But, you know, if your sale is, I don't know, 2 or 3,000 pounds, you know, for every £100, let's say it's £1,000, your average unit of sale is £1,000. So you've made 2 grand, you spent £100. How often would you like to do that? Well, for me, I do that all day, every day, assuming my profit is more than it's costing me. Let's say you're making, I don't know, 50% profit. So for every £100 you spend, you get £1,000 back in profit. You just do that all day, every day. As you know, what would your budget be? For me, it'd be unlimited. I'd be happy to spend £1 million if I got 10 million back. And so, you know, the message here is around understanding the numbers, but it's also around commitment of time, effort, and money. You know, without that, if you're not willing to commit time, effort, and money, and I know it's difficult. I know, you know, you say, well, we've not got the budget's not available, I haven't got time to do that. Well, you know, how's that working out for you right now? If you're really committed, you know, again, to quote Tony Robbins, there's always a way if you're committed. You know, you could get the money, you could find the money, you could, you know, beg, borrow, or steal. No, not steal, beg or borrow the money, you know, and do so in a small, tested, conservative way. This is not about chucking millions of pounds or even thousands of pounds at something that may or may not work. I want to be really clear on that. You know, I'm a Yorkshireman. We don't like wasting money, and I don't like wasting my clients' money. So, you know, make sure, again, any money and time that you put in are measured and you can clearly understand the results that you're getting. Number 6, I've already said this, you're doing the right marketing in the wrong way. So, you know, again, go and have a look at what you're doing, or perhaps go and have a look at what you were doing. You know, maybe there are things that you used to do that you just didn't get right. You know, I had somebody the other day, new client, started work with me, and I asked him about email. He said, "Have you ever done that?" "Oh yeah," he said, I tried that. It didn't work." I said, "Oh right, what did you do?" He said, "Well, we sent out 3 campaigns." You know, 3 campaigns. And I said, well, that's, you know, with all respect, that I could have told you that wouldn't work. You know, just doing, how often did you do them? Once a month, he said. So he did 1 per month for 3 months and decided that email marketing doesn't work. Now, you know, what could he have done? If you think about this, what could he have done? He could have, well, to start with, his database was pretty rubbish. It was really old, and he only had like 400 or 500 people in there. So you needed to do some database development. Go and find people, go and get people to subscribe, go and meet people networking, and so on and so forth. So he could have developed his database. He could have emailed more frequently. You know, if you send me an email and then send me another one a month later, I don't even remember the last one. So I have no idea, in a way, who you are. So we need to do it on a regular basis. Those of you who are on my email list will know that I email, once, twice, occasionally 3 times a week. Everybody on my email list knows me. It's really weird. People come up to me at networking events and go, "Oh, Steve, I was watching your video the other day. Oh, yeah, I went on your webinar the other day," and so on and so forth. So, you know, it works really, really well if you use it. You could then, you know, create, I've just signed up for something with a slightly weird name, actually, called BOMB, B-O-M-B, B-O-M-B. It allows me to do emails but attach video, so it's like a video email. It's really cool, I think, and possibly the new way forward for email. So you might want to go and take a look at that. Right, you're doing the right marketing, but you're possibly doing it in the wrong way. Okay, next one. Why social media? Why is social media such a big thing? And what are you going to do about it? Now, if you like 99% of the people that I meet, you're on social media, you're doing stuff, but also if you're like 90% of those 99%, you're probably not really winning much business from it. So we need to think about why that is. Doing things like posting on Twitter and creating awareness and so on is okay, but my belief about this is this, and that is you should never do a social media post without making an offer. That's right. Yeah, that's what I said. You should never do a social media post without making an offer. Now, but by an offer, I don't mean you should always be trying to sell something, but what you should be doing is a short introduction. You should be adding an offer, and then you should be adding some value. So a social media post for me, which would be generally a video post, by the way. Most of my social media posts are video posts, which is really the way forward. And so I'd say something like, oh, hi, Steve Mills here. Today I wanted to talk to you about how you can improve the words on your website. I've got 5 tips for you in order to get you more leads and more sales from your website. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Just before I do, I wanted to let you know about a webinar that I'm running next Thursday at 12:30. If you'd like to come along to that, go to www.stevemills.co. Now, let me go into my 5 tips for you. And then I just go boom, 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 and then do the sales bit on the end again. I'm not selling anything. I'm giving something away free, but obviously I'm making an offer. Yeah. So that's the type of thing that I really do believe you should be doing. And again, listening to the world's leading experts in the field, this is what they're doing. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm winning business on social media. We win mainly on LinkedIn, I must say. We win about 100,000 a year from social media. So if you're not doing that and you want to know how, come and speak to me. So number 8, your biggest problem, in my opinion, is obscurity. If you run a small business, the biggest problem is nobody's heard of you. I don't care how long you've been going. You know, you take my business. I'm fairly well known, I'd say. You know, I've got a database, an email database that I keep in touch with of 18,000 people. I've got a LinkedIn following of over 8,000 people. I've got 50,000 followers on Twitter and similar numbers on Facebook. You know, I speak at events and I'm out there in the market, and I'm probably communicating on a regular basis with about, I'm going to say 100,000 people. Now, the problem with that, and why I think obscurity is my biggest problem, even though I've got 100,000, is that there are 3 million businesses in the UK. And I could help all of those, but they don't know me. And here lies the problem. Now, you may think, well, you know, I don't serve the whole of the UK. I'm based in Birmingham, and we provide carpet cleaning in Birmingham or whatever it is you do. But there's still, you know, most of Birmingham don't know you. And, you know, our objective is to overcome that. So you've got to get, you know, I love another saying. I can't remember where I heard this actually, but it goes like this. It's a little rhyme. He who whispers down the well about the things that he can sell will not make those shiny dollars like he who climbs a tree and hollers. I hope you like it. I liked it. I thought it was great. And you gotta holler. You gotta holler. So, you know, shout, you know, get yourself out there. The other day I did a podcast. And by the way, if you're not on my, if you don't follow me on my podcast, go to my website, stevemills.co, and download my podcast. I've got to say, it's really, really good. The other day I did an interview with a guy called Frank Furness. Now, Frank's a normal guy like you or I. He's a professional speaker. I've known Frank for years. He's a really good guy. And he was telling me that he's had over 4 million views on YouTube. 4 million. I mean, that's like, you know, superstar status. That's Beyonce, you know, and he's Frank Furness. And on the podcast, he was telling me how he'd done that, how he'd achieved that. So I'm super excited to, you know, start implementing some of those ideas. So straight after the webinar today, go and download my podcast and go and listen to Frank. So yeah, your biggest problem is obscurity. Number nine is about embracing the future. You know, if you're going to be someone who sits there and says, well, I don't get this technology thing, then, you know, you're just going to be someone who says, I don't really want as much money as I could have. You know, if you're, for example, you're not using some of this latest marketing, and your excuse is, well, I don't know how to do it. In fact, for a lot of people, when I talk in a few minutes about geofencing, you won't even know what it is. And, you know, that's costing you money again. So that's number 9, embrace the future. Number 10, the hub of your marketing. You know, this is the central hub that everything revolves around, is your website. So my question for you about your website is it working? Because if that's not working, then that's a real problem, isn't it? You know, if you got a rubbish website, in other words, it's not very well designed, it looks old-fashioned, the words on there are not very good, there's very few calls to action, and basically your website doesn't convert, then why would you do a load of marketing in order to get people to your website? Because that's fundamentally you know, the system. And it might be different to you. It might be you do marketing and people inquire and don't even go to your website. But often, you know, if what happens in networking, you know, I meet somebody, we shake hands, we exchange business cards, they go away and go and check out my website. I connect to somebody on LinkedIn, and if they've got any interest in me, they go and check my website out. It's like almost like, you know, when you meet somebody, be it virtually, online, offline, whatever, the first step is to go and have a look at the website to see, actually, is this guy any good? He claims to be, but if he's got an awful website, then, you know, the perception is probably not as good as it could be. So 2 keys here, 2 things to think about. One is traffic. How many people are coming to your website? Do you have Google Analytics already set up on your website? If you don't, why not? And if you don't, go and get it done. You know, you got to do this. Get Google Analytics set up on your website. Don't know how to do it? Well, you go and speak to your web guy, or go onto YouTube and learn how to do it. To be honest, you're only going to have to do it once. So go to your web guy and say, can you set up Google Analytics on my website for me? And they'll do that. And then the important thing is every month or every whatever, you got to go in and look at it and see what results you're getting, and then work out how you can get more traffic. So we need traffic. Without that, you know, nothing's going to work. However, we also need conversion. We need to get people converting. You know, if you look at my homepage right now, my most wanted action, the action that my homepage is really focused on, is getting people to come to this webinar. Why? Because this is part of my system. This is like me going, right, okay, here's some real value. You know, I'm basically, you know, trying to explain how I can help people by actually helping people and demoing my expertise, as it were. And so if you're, you know, if you want to win more business from your website, you might want to think about doing things like maybe doing a webinar, perhaps getting them to watch a video, getting them to give you their contact names. Everybody watching today who's actually on the webinar, I've got your contact details, haven't I? You know, and I can follow up with you, which do you think I will? Absolutely I will. And you're in my sales and marketing system, not in a bad way, in a good way, because I know I can help you. And so, you know, we've got to think about your web pages, and you've got to think about what you need to do on those web pages in order to improve the conversion rate. I've got a really nice report on mine. It's called Results. It's the Results Report. It's 10 pages. It's a 10-page report. People go on there, they think, yeah, that's interesting. I'll sign up for that. They download it, and that sends them an email with a link to the report. It then follows them up with another email saying, did you get the report? A couple of days later, so it sends them another email saying, did you get a chance to read the report, and would you like to have a meeting, or would you like to come to the webinar? And then it follows up like a week later, if they've not actually done anything, saying, you know, you downloaded the report, we sent you a couple of emails about the webinar. Not sure if they've got lost, but if they have, here's a link to the webinar again, and here's a link to book a meeting if you'd rather do that. And the reason I'm going through all that is that happens automatically. I don't have to do anything. It's just automatically set up using my system, my marketing system. And that's really the hub of your marketing. Okay, so they're the 10 ideas. So the question is, you know, what are you going to do? Oh, do you know what? I forgot to tell you about geofencing. I meant to do that. So let me just backtrack a bit and tell you about that. So Google's back in, I think it was December, certainly December when I got to know about it, I've set up this thing called geofencing. The best way of me telling you about it is to give you an example of it. So let's say that you were a gym owner, you know, you owned a gym, like a health club type thing. You could say to Google, right, my catchment area is 10 miles of my gym here. I'm in Portsmouth. So let's say it's Portsmouth. My catchment area is Portsmouth. So what I'd like you to do for me, Google, is that if anybody walks into any of the other gyms in Portsmouth with one of these in their hand, yeah, a mobile phone, which, let's face it, virtually everybody walking into a gym will have in their hand. So if anybody walks into a gym, I want you, Google, to start advertising my gym to those people. And that's what geofencing is. Okay? So don't ask me how it works, other than it works because we've all got free apps on our phone, and we're being tracked exactly where, you know, Google knows where your phone is right now. So does Facebook, and so on and so forth. So when you walk into a gym, it knows and starts advertising to you on a pay-per-click basis using Google's 2.5 million partner sites. So you'll find yourself all over the place. Now, who's going in the gym? Well, there's their members and their prospects. Okay, their staff as well. So it might be good from a recruitment point of view as well. But you see the power of this. This is why, you know, this is why I think it's so incredibly powerful. So yeah, go and have a look at that. If you want to know how to do it, you can speak to me. We can do it for you. Or you can just go and YouTube it and see if you can learn how to do it on there. So yeah, go and take a look at geofencing. We're just testing it at the moment. So can't sit here and say, wow, it's been the best results ever, but we're starting to get some good results. So you might want to take a look at that. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do as a result? You're going to do nothing? I sincerely hope that's not the case. You know, you just spent an hour. I hope you've not wasted it. I hope you're going to, you know, do something. I hope you're not really going to carry on as you are. If you carry on as you are, the old saying, I think it was Einstein once said, you know, insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And, you know, I hope you're not going to do that. So what I hope you'll do is take the first steps of working with me. It's actually a second step, isn't it? Because the first step's been on here. So I want to offer you a free one-to-one results meeting, I call it, which is where we spend time together working on your business. It can be done over the phone, although that's not very good. I'd rather do it over online on a Zoom meeting, so we can see each other's screen and we can see each other. You can talk, whereas obviously on the webinar you can't. Or you can come to our office, whichever you'd like to do. But as I said, it's about half an hour, 45 minutes, tend to be more like 45 minutes because I can witter on, as you probably gather already. And during that process, we're going to uncover what you're doing. But first thing we're going to do is, right, where are you now? Let's have a look at some of the numbers. And even if you don't know them, we can guess some of them. So where are you now? Where do you want to go? What's the objective in the next 12 months? Then have a look at what you're doing in terms of your marketing. I'll try and give you some tips anyway, so at least, you know, you'll have got some real value out of our one-to-one. And then at the end, you know, I'll just say, look, do you want to work further? Three things we can do there. One, we can do it for you. Two, we can work with you on my results program, advising you, mentoring, and so on. And three, you know, we've got some training courses coming up, you know, various things, LinkedIn and YouTube and so on and so forth. So you might want to come along to one of those. But either way, it's up to you. Get yourself signed up. To sign up, oh, sorry, yeah, I forgot to show you that one, but that's basically what I've just said. To get yourself signed up, what you need to do is to go to this website. So stevemills.co/private-bookings. But if you just go to stevemills.co, you'll be able to see it along the navigation at the top. There's results webinar and results meeting is the second drop down on the top from the left. So that's it. Thank you ever so much. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you feel as though you benefited from attending. And you know, if you know anybody else who'd like to attend, by all means, please point them in my direction. Other than that, I just say thank you ever so much, and look forward to speaking to you soon. Have I got any questions in the Q&A? I've got one in the chat. Yeah, okay, so yeah, just saying you can see and hear me. Well, that's good. Okay, thanks very much, and look forward to speaking soon.